I'm not surprised, motherfuckers.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Courtside Soundoff podcast. Once again, I'm Josh and Angel. As always, welcome by the one and only man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, my friend and yours, Angel Ortega. We got a lot of stuff to talk about this week, boys. It is officially UFC 311 fight week going down in Los Angeles, the Intuit Dome. Well, as of now, going down in Los Angeles, we'll see what happens. But regardless, got a big week. We got some Vegas 101 to recap. We got a bunch of boxing news specifically. A couple things came out about the PFL, but mostly a boxing heavy news section. Before we break into all the action, though, folks, Rogue Energy, ELYXR, and BetMGM are friends of the show. Rogue Energy going to keep me really fired up and help you get to the finish line as well with code SOUNDOFF at checkout. Again, code SOUNDOFF, all caps when you spell the brand's name. ELYXR, same thing there, except they're going to get you really high with their Delta products. Angel ripping the Papania last episode with enjoying that code SOUNDOFF for 10% off. Spelled all caps when he went to checkout. So, hey, man, always fun there. Lastly, guys, UFC fans, NFL fans, actually, BetMGM has a few offers for you. Follow that link down below. You can get up to $1,500 in bonus bets paid back. That is if you do not have an account. 1-800-GAMBLER if you're having any issues. But if you want to go ahead and tag along with us, throw some money on the fights, have some fun, go ahead and follow that link down below. Once again, BetMGM. Look, Angel, obviously it's UFC 311, biggest card of the week, but we do got to recap UFC Vegas 101 going down for the first time in 2025. It went down at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada. Depressing that we're still at the Apex, but I'll say this, for the card itself, was a fun one. In the main event, Mackenzie Dern cementing Amanda Ribas, avenging her loss. And not only avenging her loss, but seemingly, now she said she didn't want one afterwards. She was pretty fair about this. She said, oh, it's fine if I don't get one. But seemingly setting the stage for a potential title shot. Give me your thoughts on her performance in the main event and what could potentially be next for the Brazilian.
I mean, it was good. She got the finish. She showed up. She beat Ribas, which I think, I don't want to say it was the expected result, but it was the result that most likely seemed would happen, She looked good in there for the most part. The scrambles were fun. Amanda Ribas had a good few throws in there. Obviously, all the sub attempts from Dern, which then inevitably led to the actual submission that ended up happening. An armbar too, which these days is a rarity in the modern MMA jiu-jitsu game. So that's always nice seeing that and the setup and getting there. No. I mean, it was beautiful. I got to say one more thing, before I kind of like give Mackenzie all her flowers, and I kind of already have a little bit there, but I feel like Amanda Ribas is going to be a very forgotten fighter, dude, but I got to give her credit. She has pushed this division in a way where it's like, we needed an Amanda Ribas around. We still need an Amanda Ribas around to kind of give these people some hard fights, give them some fun fights, because she has kind of, I'm not going to lie, like kind of at times kind of surpassed some of my expectations, had results that were better than what I thought. I mean, going to distance against Rose, obviously her early win against Mackenzie, and a number of other things. Throughout her time in the UFC, and also bouncing between weight classes and being willing to do that. So much respect to her as a professional. On the Dern end, though, I think, like I said, she's trying to set herself up. I think the UFC wants to set her up. They want to make her be a big thing, or at least in some capacity get her to that title moment, because they think that she could bring a good amount of eyes to this division potentially. I like how she was a little critical of herself. I like how she wasn't dead set on the title. I like how she wants one more. I think there's a number of options out there for her. Exactly what direction and what's the correct one, I don't know. But I definitely know that it's not a title shot next, for sure. I mean, and I think that'd be an intelligent thing for her to do. If she gets one more, I feel like, I'm not going to say she's like some undeniable thing like a John Fitch or Bilal Muhammad, just to give some examples here, because she's nowhere on that kind of win streak. Especially with like the continuous state of this division, we've been mentioned several times when we come on the show week to week. Hopefully one more, and if she gets it, it's not like we got a lot of choices here.
Yeah.
So but I think a good thing for her, Verna's kind of still in line, and she kind of deserves a title. Depending what happens with Weili and Tatiana here in a few weeks, really now, then the conversation we could be having a while from now could be very, very different.
Yeah. Yeah, it comes down to this. Do I think Mackenzie Dern should get a title shot next? Probably not. 2 wins in a row, avenging a loss, getting a big submission win. That's awesome, obviously, but it should be Verna Jandiroba. Do I think it will be Mackenzie Dern fighting the winner of Suarez Weili? Yes, I do. I think they're going to give her a title shot next. I think that this has been something they've wanted for a long time. If you look at her UFC record, okay, let's just go back to, I'd say, 2021. 2021 was whenever she suffered the loss to Hebos the year prior, but she put a run together, 4 wins in a row. She faced Marina Rodriguez in a UFC main event. They're like, damn, if Mackenzie can win this one, we'll give her a title shot. She lost, okay? Goes back, she beats Teacher Torres. They gave her another main event. They're like, all right, this is the time. You beat Yan Xiaonan, you're getting that title shot. Lost by split decision. Eventually, has a couple more fights, and it leads up to this moment here where it's like, okay, if she wins, maybe she'll give her a title shot. I think this is the 3rd time's a charm. They know that there's a very good possibility that she can lose another fight and she won't fight for the gold. And the UFC is aware that Mackenzie Dern is one of the biggest women's MMA fighters they have. Whether or not you're a fan of her, that's fine. Whether or not you think she deserves it, that's fine. She's one of the few gals with any sort of star power. People know Mackenzie Dern. They like Mackenzie Dern for a variety of reasons. And I also think her against the winner of Suarez or Weili is an awesome, excellent fight and stylistically a great fight. It also helps that she beat Jandiroba back in 2021. A lot of people forget, but the fact that she has that head-to-head win, I could see them giving in the advantage to Dern and giving her a title.
Could you ever see a world where they do Dern Verna as a fight for the title?
That'd be the logical thing to do, but the UFC lately, they don't really like, for whatever reason, it seems like they don't like doing title eliminator fights anymore. Like, I don't know about you, but it feels like it's been a long time since we've had I
feel like the issue too is they started labeling them like that. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And then they wouldn't give the guys a title shot. Like, remember
which doesn't look good too. So that's the other thing.
Yeah, like Hamzat Kamaru was labeled the UFC title eliminator, and then Hamzat won, and then like, well, shit, actually, Robert Whittaker, that's gonna be your title eliminator fight. It's like, okay, well, all right, that just sucks. But yeah, logically, you put Verna versus Mackenzie, in March or April. But I think it's more likely they're just going to give Mackenzie a title shot. Which, again, you could argue whether or not she deserves it. That's just what I think is going to happen. So, that being said, though, as far as the performance itself, great performance. Not too many issues. I mean, very impressive to submit Ahmed Hibos, who I believe had never been submitted.
I think you're right on that. Yeah,
I mean, I know that she got stopped by, Macy Barber, which was an insane fight. I know she has a couple of just very close decision losses. Yeah, that was her first submission loss. So, props to Mackenzie Dern, especially going back to that first fight where Mackenzie Dern tried really hard for a takedown, and if she got there, even when she did get there, she couldn't do anything on the mat. So very impressive.
Dude, her opening to the UFC was kind of insane. It was Emily Whitmire, Mackenzie Dern, Randa Marcos, Paige Van Zandt. Like, pretty good start to your UFC career. Yeah. She had the loss in there to Marina Rodriguez, and then followed by the Verna dub.
Yeah.
And then so on and so forth.
Impressive stuff. Yeah, man, love to see both these gals back. We'll see what they do next. Co-main event, man, I was surprised by this one. Santiago Ponzinibbio not only getting the win, which it was that surprising, but knocking out Carlston Harris in the 3rd round. Great stoppage win afterwards. He says he wants Vicente Luque in Miami. Book it. Give it to me in April. That's a perfect fight. What'd you make about his performance, the Gravedigger coming back?
I thought it was an intelligent call out. Like, it made sense. The fight seems interesting. It's relevant to the division. The win was good, but once again, dude, I mean, I said it last week. I think he's just, and it's not, I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. He just looks older as a fighter. Like, he's still having these successful moments and stuff. And like I said, I kind of wonder why he's still fighting. Like, what is his reason now? What is his motivation? Does he just want to continue fighting because it's fun to him? Does he want to continue fighting because of the money? Because, like I mentioned in the past, I mean, he's one of those guys who has his feet in other things. I mean, I don't know if he has other ventures outside of the UFC, like business or any sort of big investments, but I know he obviously does the commentary with the UFC Spanish commentary team. And I've joined the broadcast a number of times, and he's been there several times, and he does I'd say he does a decent job. He's a solid guy. I wouldn't say he's the best out of all the guys they have there, but hey, you give him time, he keeps improving. I think he could be. Just not personally one of my favorite guys in Spanish commentary. Nothing against him. Not that he doesn't have good qualities. Just out of the guys that had come through, he's near the bottom. Not because he's bad, but just because the other guys are just that great.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think maybe there could be a future with a ESPN Deportes.
Oh.
And I think obviously continuing to grow the Argentinian MMA scene, I think is a very important thing too. Because, I mean, it brought like a stellar athlete like him now, and hopefully they continue to bring more. I mean, we're just seeing talent come through. Like I said last week, Esteban Ribovic, Eileen Perez, whether or not we like to say it or not, or meme about it, she's getting some wins, and we're going to be talking about her here in a few minutes as well. Yeah, I think hopefully he kind of comes out, and I kind of wonder, like, I want to know what the exact motivations are behind the continuation, because the age is showing, and and I kind of wonder if you ask him, if you have a sit down with him, like, realistically, do you think that the title's still even a possibility? Like, I kind of want to know exactly what he's thinking.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you got to get inside the guy's head to know, but my guess is probably a combination of things. He feels like he could probably still make a run because, I mean, every athlete lies to themselves for a long time. You have to be delusional to be an MMA fighter.
What's the thing we always say? Santiago Ponzinibbio says he still has a lot left in him.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh man, Bigfoot Silva's got one more in the tank. Like that's just the way. That's the way they all.
2 wins and a title shot.
Yeah, Tony Ferguson, 2 wins and a title shot. Yeah. Yeah, man. I don't know. You'd have to get in his mind. I think it's combination of things that he probably needs to get paid. I mean, you got to think about this. This is a guy that missed years of his prime, right when he was on the cusp of making paydays. By the way, he had his first UC main event, demolished Neil Magny. Neil Magny was a top 6 guy.
He headlined that Argentina event, right?
Yeah, and they were like, "Oh, damn, this is the time. This is the time for Ponzi."
That card ended up being very successful, like commercially, right?
Oh man, let me pull it up. But I believe so. Yeah, the point being though is that like this is a guy like he's on the verge of getting into that contendership, making some big paydays, and then just injuries, illness. He misses 3 years of his career, and that was it.
I think if you also look back to it, his Tapology, he had like several fights canceled too.
Oh, a lot
throughout like the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. 11,000 people. It was a very successful card in Argentina, and he headlined it. He knocked out Neil Magny, just dominant. And he beat the shit out of Neil Magny too. I mean, that was just brutal. So, but after that, he dealt with the injuries. He lost years of his career, and then he's come back and he's had some big fights, but he's also lost a lot of them. So I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what he says, but I don't know. Speaking of guys I feel bad for, how about Abdulrazak Al Hassan? These two came to bang, and it didn't last very long. Cesar Almeida up against the fence. Abdulrazak Al Hassan lands a big right hand. It looks like maybe Almeida's hurt. He kind of shields up. Abdulrazak Hassan, he smells blood in the water. He starts landing some shots, and then boom, a right from the gods. Puts him down, out cold. And I heard from people, reporters I know that were inside there, he was out for like 7 minutes. Something insane. So, at least out on his back, it didn't get up for like 7 to 10 minutes. So
he spoke publicly a lot after that knockout, right? If I remember right. He came out, gave a statement, apologized, which no need to apologize.
You gotta apologize, man.
It happens.
You're the one
unfortunately.
Yeah.
But dude, the finish. Izzy-esque against Poeton.
Oh, it's a great comparison, yeah.
Izzy-esque to in the moment. That's kind of what it reminded me of. Izzy against the cage when he knocked out Poeton. Relatively similar, different in a number of ways, but yeah, I mean, it was beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful stuff there, man. Hoping Abdul's fine. It seems like he's fine from my understanding, but still brutal. You know what? Let's go one down.
That bastard Cesar Almeida, right?
Yeah, that son of a bitch. No, it's just you monster. No, I
mean, he is in the cage.
Yeah. We'll move one down. Guy, I actually feel really sorry for, Chris Curtis, dude. Is Chris Curtis ever going to win UC gold? No, dude, never. But dude,
is he the most unfortunate fighter?
I feel like he has to be. There's a lot of guys who have had really bad luck, but Chris Curtis, you can just run him down and it looks insane. Makes his UC debut. So first of all, go back years ago. Doesn't get a contendership offer after murdering that poor guy with a hook kick. I can't remember the guy's name.
I have it pulled up. Sean Lally.
Yeah, murders Sean Lally. Okay, still in my opinion, top 5 finish on the Contender Series. Doesn't get a contract because it's not 2024, and we're just like, oh shit, dude, you want to fight by split decision? Here's your UC contract, So he gets in the UC years later after years of work. He has a great run to the top, but eventually, just stuff starts happening. Kelvin Gastelum got headbutted real bad in that one, and I believe the second round lost the momentum, ends up losing by decision. No point was called. No halt was called. Then he has another headbutt against Nasruddin Imavov. No contest. Okay. Then he has a split decision winner of Andre Barriault. A split decision loss to Brendan Allen where he stepped up on short notice. He tore his, what was it?
He got injured and eye poked in that fight.
He got injured, eye poked. And the reason why he lost that fight is he got dropped in the last 10 seconds. But that was him tearing his, what was it? His fucking Achilles or some shit.
By the way, he was supposed to fight October 5th of 2024. He had a pull out. He had a fracture on his left foot.
Yeah. This dude just had nonstop bad luck. And I know a lot of MMA fans hate him because he's he's a liberal. But I still feel bad for the guy, man. I mean, come on, you know.
By the way, how did you feel about his reaction afterwards? People were really critical of that. I mean,
They were critical of Chris Curtis.
Yeah, because he freaked out. You saw he yelled at Mark Smith. Did you ever see that clip?
I did see that. Well, dude, I mean,
I get it. He's emotional. He's passionate.
Yeah.
I'm sure maybe he looks back at that with some embarrassment. You know, he's like, man, maybe I shouldn't.
Dude, it's 1-1, and then we're in the final seconds of the third round, and he gets finished like that. I would be livid. I
mean, it's his life. I mean, this could be the difference between, let's just say his contract, just to give an example, $70K. This could be the difference between him bringing home $70,000, obviously tax given to his, whatever it is, whatever he has to do.
Yeah.
Or him potentially making $140,000. Depending how his contract is, I'm not sure how it is.
And then let's also say this too. Some people were like, well, it's fine because he was going to lose the fight anyway, probably. But it's like, well, dude, but like, it's MMA, bro. Like, I've seen if Chris Curtis would have won that fight, it still would have been a better decision than Paddy Pimblett versus fucking.
I mean, not even just that. Think about it like this. And just an example of like, it's never over till it's over. Yeah, you're Rodriguez, dude. Last second. Yeah. Probably seemed like he was going to lose the fight. Like, an insane elbow from hell that took out TKZ. And we got that moment. I'm not saying that was necessarily going to happen with Chris Curtis.
Let me say this. I'm generally the type of guy that whenever a guy is hurt, I'm fine with the stoppage. And so I think I have to be fine with the stoppage here because I've been the guy that's been like, I remember whenever Alistair Overeem got knocked out by Rosenstrike like 5 years ago now. And I was like, well, if you're going by the definition of like how stoppages are supposed to be, yes, Rosenstrike's not near him within like the last 5 seconds, but like that motherfucker's knocked out. So like you're supposed to have the fight go that way.
Not even just that, but he also caused one of the most gruesome injuries ever in the UFC where he literally obliterated Overeem's lip.
Yeah, and I've always been the guy that I'm trying to pull up the exact boxing match, the exact when it was that Chavez had in like the last 10 seconds.
You probably think about Medrick Taylor, Chavez won.
I believe you're
1,000%. Right. That's what it is because you could look it up on YouTube right now and I know exactly what you're thinking of.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you guys did not see that fight, that is the fight where he's down on the cards. Chavez, he's 88-0. Excuse me, 68-0. Okay, against Meldrick Taylor. Meldrick Taylor,
this was for the sexy 69-0.
This is sexy 69-0. Meldrick Taylor, guy out of Philly, great boxer, great technically. But in a round, and he was up on the card going into the final round. It wasn't very close. I think it was like up like 8-3 or something like that. Like it wasn't particularly close. But Chavez just knocked him on his fucking ass, dude. Like hurt him bad. And they ended up calling it with I think 2 to 3 seconds left on the clock. But if you watch that fight, he's hurt bad. For me, I think this Chris Curtis one, Meldrick Taylor was hurt worse against Chavez. Overeem was hurt worse against Rosenstrike. I think you take this as a case-by-case basis. I don't think they should have stopped that fight.
Yeah.
I think...
I feel bad for Mark Smith, though, if I'm being honest. Like,
I don't feel bad.
I feel bad because, be honest, how much has Mark Smith really fucked up in his career?
No, I guess you're right. Mark Smith's generally pretty good, but at the same time...
Think about the last fuck-up with Mark Smith. It's been a while.
It's been a while, but at the same time, it's like, dude, like, you really only need one of these to fuck up a guy's entire career.
And you're not wrong. I was thinking about that.
Well, I mean, he only fucked up, like, 3 times in the last 3 years. It's like, well, that's 3 fighters whose lives are irredeemably changed.
I'm kind of coming to the conclusion though. I'm like, reffing's never going to be perfect. Yeah. So I'm kind of like more calm about this shit. Granted, it's hard, right? Because as a fighter, I mean, dude, that's a critical moment for him. You know, like who knows? Maybe like Chris gets the nod somehow on the cards, even with that massive moment. That, you know, something. Granted, it maybe
maybe he said didn't Chris say he slipped or some shit like that was part like he got hurt, but like he slipped. You know?
Yeah, and
it's like yeah, like that happens.
There's layers of this shit, man. It sounds bad, but it's part of the sport. You know, human error is gonna always be a thing.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel bad for all parties involved. Roman got the win, but like he didn't get the knockout probably exactly he wanted. Chris Curtis, you know, probably should have got to see the scorecards. And Mark Smith, I get his position too, because like that's not an enviable position to be in. You know, because you're supposed to. The way they tell referees, if you guys don't know, you don't look at the clock. You judge the fight like the fight is going. You don't look at the clock. If there's 1 second left on the clock, it might as well be 1 minute. You know, that's just the way that they're told to do this shit. So I don't blame him specifically. But you're right. It is what it is. And, you know, Chris will be back.
You got to think about it, dude. The white noise, the punching.
Yeah.
You hear the clapper, but it's drowned out by the noise of the crowd because it's getting hyped because it's the last few seconds. I mean, it's a lot.
And this was a fight of the night. I mean, this was an incredible fight, or obviously the early fight of the year contender. Easily the best fight on the card, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, awesome fight. It just sucks it ended that way. With that sort of controversy, but also on the inverse, like, God damn it, knockout in the last second. That is kind of cool too. So
I mean, it was a pretty sick moment. It got stained a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine if Mark Smith doesn't like hop in there, and Chris is coming back, and you see Kopylov trying to run in last?
Yeah. Like, that'd be incredible.
I mean, like, that whole moment could have had a lot of beauty to it. Sadly, it got tainted.
It is what it is. Rest of the card: Christian Rodriguez picking up a win over Austin Bashi. Man,
he's put it together.
Yeah,
silently, but I didn't realize how young he was.
I mean, no, dude. I mean, I remember when we fought Rosas. They were talking about how Rosas is 19. Where I'm like, Christian Rodriguez is some fucking 30-year-old man.
He just turned 27 last month.
So, a very impressive young kid picking up the win here. Austin Bashi's a guy that still got some potential too, man. I mean, he didn't get the nod, but I didn't think he looked too bad either.
For 23.
Yeah,
I mean, dude, that kid was in insane physical shape. Yeah. Had a motor, did not give up.
You like to see it.
He was really hyped up. He got a lot of love.
First career loss, but
it wasn't like I want to say he got humbled, but he definitely came in. He's like, okay, this is where I'm at.
Yeah, this
is where the rest of the division can be at or higher.
Learning experience.
Yeah,
it's a learning experience.
23, bro. 23, 13-0.
Yeah.
Not 13-1, but hey.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? Dude, opening up the main card, excuse me. Punawale Soriano, knocking out Euros Medic. I guess Medic needs a medic after that one. Am I right?
Dude, I did not expect that.
Yeah, no, I didn't expect that one either, especially the way it went down. Very impressive stuff, dude.
Especially with the ups and downs of Soriano's career. Euros Medic is always one of those where I'm like, he'll come in and do some shit where I'm like, okay, I didn't expect that. And I forget you got some power there. I don't know. He's one that I think could do, like, my expectations at times are a little too high or a little too low.
Yeah.
That's why I wasn't super confident in this fight. I actually was leaning Medic for this, funny enough, just because Serrano was literally fighting for his contract to stay in the UFC against, was it Miguel Baeza? They had a killer fight too. So that's why I was kind of like, he's had his struggles, whereas Medic got some power. I'm going to lean Serrano. But he came in and proved us wrong. I think he might have even been the underdog that night. Yep. He's underdog.
Yeah, good stuff from him, man. Great stuff from him. Love to see that knockout. This card, like I said earlier, like, it didn't have like a lot of huge names, but a lot of good performances. Going to the undercard, Felipe Buenas. I apologize for mispronouncing the name.
He subbed Jose Johnson.
Subbing Jose Johnson, the 6'2" flyweight who missed weight. So shocking. Marco Tulio defeating Il Horpateri, who also missed weight, knocked him out.
He didn't even just beat him; he brutalized him.
At a certain point, what are we doing here? Like, I mean, no offense to Il Horpateri. I'm sure he's a nice guy.
I got it for you. It's very simple.
Yeah.
21-8 as a record does not look bad. Yes. If you don't look at the actual record.
If you don't look into the fact that he's lost all but 2 of his UFC fights. Let's say maybe it would be 1. No, he's 2-6. He's 2-6.
That's what I'm saying. The guy's 2-6. But you look at his record, you wouldn't assume, oh, this guy's 21-8. He's in the UFC. You know what I mean? Yeah. It looks pretty until you look at how the record actually looks.
It helps that he comes to swing and bang too.
And that's the other thing.
UFC fight, so I guess that's worth something. But man, just
that's what I'm saying. I mean, they know what they're doing.
He also did get fucked by Cesar Almeida. He should have won that fight.
He did, but dude, these motherfuckers, and that's why I think they kept him around. I feel like if he would have won that, he would have stuck around. But if he did, if he would have lost that, no fouls, no controversy, I have a feeling Horpateri wouldn't be on the UFC roster.
I got you.
But since he's done him some favors, coming in and filled in some fights, I think he's even come in on short notice before. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
There's a reason he stuck around. And like I said, let's say his record was much smaller. With those 6 losses, yeah, dude, it wouldn't look as nice.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It was, man. Yeah, good shit. Good shit. From Marco Tulio. Again, like you said, I get why they kept Pateri around, but Jesus. Thiago Moises. Man, talking about guys who are deceptively young. We said this last week. I believe 29 years old. Thiago Moises picked up the win over Trey Ogden. Good win by
Kansas City's own
Trey Ogden. Man, we can talk about this. Jacoby Smith knocking out Preston.
By the way, that wasn't an easy fight. I do want to say that Trey Ogden came to fight.
He did. He showed up in shape, looked good, had a good one around.
Yeah, and it won it well. Won it decisively. Had some good leg kicks, but then Thiago Moises turned it up.
Yeah, Jacoby Smith knocking out Preston Parsons. Brutal knockout win. Love to see.
Early rookie of the year front runner. I know it's literally one card in, but
I mean, damn, he looked good though, man. He looked good.
I
Very
mean,
explosive.
10-0 collegiate wrestler. Get the knockout. Not even like ground and pound or nothing.
No, but brutalized him. So
was it Oklahoma? Oklahoma or?
Oh, I thought he was out of Texas.
What school was it? It says it on his thing. He wrestled at the same school as DC, but I can't remember.
Oklahoma State, then.
And there you go.
Oklahoma State is I mean, they're losers when it comes to football and every other sport. But as far as
collegiate wrestling,
they are really good. I'm not sure if it's obvious, guys. I'm from Oklahoma City. I don't really give a shit about Oklahoma State. It's got to be tough, right? I mean, just always being second best at everything.
Yeah, but he got a lot of love. He got a lot of attention this week.
Yeah, no, jokes aside, he looked
and he's very confident. He's very confident, very competent in his game.
Well spoken.
Well spoken. If I'm not gonna lie though, he fought like late last year on the Contender, if I saw correctly. He got a first round knockout. I hope for a quick turnaround. If I'm being honest, he's young. He has insane potential. He's 10-0. He's at 170, a heavy division. A lot of hard hitters, a lot of talented individuals, a lot of wrestlers. I don't know. I kind of have high hopes for him. I really hope that he pushes himself this year and fights again.
Yeah, same, dude. I mean, I'd like to see activity from young guys, so I hope he stays rolling. But throw him on a big card too. Put him international 5-week undercard, early prelims. Why not? Give him a decent name, welterweight, 170. We'll see. That's just what I do with him. The guy has a lot of potential, and like I said, coming out of Oklahoma State, there's a long line of guys. I mean, Johnny Hendricks as well, Daniel Cormier. I feel there's a couple others as well, but just they are great like breeding talent for young MMA fighters. So we'll see. Couple other fights that happened. I mean, Fatima Klein, man, murdering Victoria Dudikova. Great win. Victoria afterwards slapping her husband in the cage as well, which is kind of a weird moment. But
I saw someone translated that. Did you see what it said?
No.
I think it was loosely, and granted, it's roughly translated.
Okay.
I wasn't heard very well, but it was like, you weren't there for me when it mattered.
Oh.
Yeah.
She said afterwards on social media that it's because like her husband wouldn't come in the cage.
Well, there you go.
So, yeah, brutal. Opening up the card, Joe Selecki suffering a decision loss to Nurilo Aliyev. Good stuff there,
Could have told you that one.
Yeah, not exactly. No offense to Joe Selecki, but I'm not exactly shocked. That should probably be it for him in the UFC. 3 losses in a row. None of them very close, but we'll see.
Tough dude, but he's just not at that higher echelon, sadly.
No, probably not. But Angel, it's time. It's time. UFC 311 going down Saturday night from the Into a Dome, Los Angeles, California. Dana White saying this morning, actually, while we're filming, under no circumstances are we leaving LA. We're running the show Saturday night. So here we go. And it's a packed event. In the main event, lightweight champion Islam Makhachev coming back for the first time since a submission win, fight of the year contender last June, UFC 302 against Dustin the Diamond Poirier, scoring a 5th round submission win, looking to make his 4th title defense against a familiar face, Arman Tsarukyan, 28 years young, okay? Debuted in the UFC on 3 weeks' notice against Islam Makhachev back in April 2019 at St. Petersburg. This put on a fun fight. Makhachev winning a close decision. Since then, though, Arman Tsarukyan, damn near flawless. The only loss in his UFC career coming outside of the one to Makhachev. To Mateus Gamrot, a controversial loss in June of 2022, but since then, dude, I mean, just the resume is excellent. Wins over Olivier Aubameyang, the Canadian gangster, Matt Frevola, Cristiano Giagos, Joel Alvarez, Demir Esmagulov, Joaquin Silva, Beneil Dariush, who he's knocked out last December, and then Charlie Olives, Du Bronx in April, UFC 300. Look, dude, I am psyched for this fight. I'm fired up. Woke up feeling dangerous. Okay, according to the current odds from our friends over at BetMGM, if you'll follow that link down below, you can get up to $1,500 in bonus bets paid back if you do not hit. The current line, minus 170, dumbass, minus 375. Almost a 4-1 favorite against Arman Tsarukyan, coming back as a plus 280. I got to be honest with you, man. Wide odds. If you watch their first fight, and stylistically, I think Arman Tsarukyan does, and I've said this for years now, and it's not a new thing for me to say, poses the biggest stylistic issue to Islam Makhachev and a lot of those guys from that gym. But can he get the job done? Angel, what do you make of this fight?
Excellent. I mean, this is one of the best fights you can make in the division, one of the best fights you can make in the sport. I mean, this is peak. This will be one of the most I mean, we're talking highest level of competition that we'll see this year probably come out of this fight. From the ability to being able to strike, from the athleticism, to the cardio, the discipline both these guys bring, the wrestling, so on and so forth. I mean, this will be peak MMA. You know, we will see all aspects. This could potentially be a fight of the year at an entertainment level and at a technical level.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, this is one to watch. This is one you do not want to miss. If you're one of those persons that only buys a few pay-per-views out of the year, or tries, or maybe is maybe think about getting into MMA or wants to consider watching the sport, if there's one fight you need to watch or maybe consider watching this year, it's not even close. By a long shot, it should be this one.
Mm-hmm.
If you're only going to watch one card this year, make it this one. And granted, I don't know what the rest of the year has to offer, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be pretty hard to top off Arman Islam.
Yeah, it's going to be hard.
This, depending on the results of the fight, the insanity comes afterward, the legacy making moments. I was talking to Josh off air about this shit, where it's like, we're on the verge of Islam breaking the lightweight title defense record. We obviously have Arman, who might just come in and fuck it all up for everybody again.
Yeah.
Fuck it up all again and just give us a fresh look, fresh matchups, and make the division open. So that's another thing. Look, by the way, did you know there's Arman Tsarukyan's by far the youngest guy in the division? I think he's at least 5 years younger than everybody else.
Dude, he's still...
At least, and if not more.
You look up the top... Somebody did this on Twitter recently. You look up the lightweight top 15. I think 12 of 15 are above or near the age of 35.
They're all 33 plus except him, I think.
Yeah, Arman Tsarukyan just turned 28.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, 2 months ago. So, dude, this kid, he's the shit. He's the shit. I'm just gonna do it, Angel.
You're gonna rip the Band-Aid off first?
I'm ripping the Band-Aid off. Arman Tsarukyan will be your UFC lightweight champion after Saturday night. I could be wrong here, and I've been wrong many times on this show.
The Pride of Armenia?
The Pride of Armenia. Man, this kid, I was so impressed in his first fight with Makhachev, and that was on short notice. And there have been moments where he's kind of disappointed me in his UFC run, where maybe he's not fought at the level I think he can. The Silva fight back, a year or two now, way closer than it should have been. I thought he beat Gamrot, but still then I thought he should have, stylistically probably should have won that one as well, even going away. But I think it's those moments whenever he steps up against Charles Oliveira. Charlie Olives had 2 big sub attempts. For the most part, that fight last April was largely Arman on top, doing a lot of damage, getting some sub attempts of his own, trying his best.
Also, it was only 3 rounds. You almost kind of wonder, what if it was 5 rounds?
I think it was 5 rounds, probably would have been more decisive, But
also, those sub attempts, if it's Islam and not Oliveira, is it different?
Exactly. So, but obviously he's gonna have a different game plan this time around. I don't know, man. It's a vibe. It's dumb to say, but there's some fights where it's I thought that first fight was really close. He came in on short notice. I think he improved leaps and bounds, and I also think Islam has not had to deal with somebody who can challenge him in the way Arman Tsarukyan has. If you take a look at his last few fights, Poirier, who I love Dustin Poirier, but at 35 years old, that fight was probably closer than it should have been. Alexander Volkanovski, a featherweight, who stepped up at short notice for the second time around. I just think he's not been tested in that sort of way, and I think Arman's going to be able to exploit some of those. Whatever holes there may be, I think Arman's going to find them, and I think he's going to exploit them.
I think this is probably going to be the first guy who can actually scramble with him.
Absolutely. Got a takedown in their first fight whenever he was 22 years old against Islam, who is...
Holy shit.
Yeah, isn't that insane?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's the big thing, right? He finally has someone who... He's met his dance partner in that department to an extent, right? Or at least we have met. Who knows, dude? We might go in there, and fucking Islam might be a force to be fucking reckoned with, and it might not even be close. But I hope to God for the sake of the sport, dude, it's super competitive, no matter the result, because that'll make it infinitely funner. It'll be damn, maybe it was just a little too soon for Arman, and Islam just had his number just that much closer. Or if it's Arman, same, dude. I wanted to be it wasn't just a facade, it wasn't just Islam. Islam really was that great,
Yeah.
I didn't get my pick yet, but I'm gonna say in boat as you. I'm gonna go Arman because the thing is though, and the only reason I'm saying this is because I'm not gonna lie to you guys, there is no one else in this division, in my opinion, at this time that poses a threat to Islam Makhachev. Yeah, it's just the genuine truth. After Tsarukyan, I really don't know who has a chance to beat Islam. I really don't think there is anybody. Just the state of the division, sadly.
I fully agree with you, and I've never really thought anybody could really pose many issues. And
you always knew Dustin had a decent chance. I mean, Justin has power, but I just know if he
I
got
still think
taken.
and he's gonna get taken down. You know,
Yeah.
I think peak Oliveira can do something,
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
but I don't. It take a lot of stuff falling into the right place and getting there. I think Chandler has the power for the gods to knock him out, but he loses definitely now. I think. If that
definitely.
If that fight happened in 2020, I think it's decently close, but not now.
Yeah, I mean, Chandler's a wild card too.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I agree with you. I think Arman's the only guy that could realistically beat him, and I actually think he will. So I'm going to take Arman Tsarukyan. Co-main event, though. You know, both fights are intriguing, but both fights also have wide odds. Co-main event, Merab Dvalishvili won UFC gold against Sean O'Malley in September. Coming back here to make a pretty quick turnaround to face Umar Nurmagomedov. It is no secret that since Khabib Nurmagomedov retired, they have wanted another one of these Nurmagomedov boys to kind of come to the title, right? Like they it's no secret they want Usman Nurmagomedov, but they also have Umar. Obviously, Umar down at bantamweight since he came into UFC, former PFL veteran himself, came into the UFC in 2021. He has looked pretty damn dominant. Granted, he's beaten a lot of unranked guys until let me rephrase. He's beaten one ranked guy. It was Corey Sandhagen in August, beat him by unanimous decision. Fun fight, looked good. 6-0 in the UFC. He's really the only relevant name we can bring up. But still, it's how you beat the guys that matters. And he looked incredible, okay? But was that enough for Umar Nurmagomedov to enter the cage, according to our friends over at Betting Gym, as a minus 300 favorite, 3-1 favorite over Merab Dvalishvili, coming back as a plus 240? You know, look, I'm gonna come out here and say I'm not gonna give my prediction right now, but I'll say this before we preview. That's insane to me. Is that not insane to anybody else? That a guy who's beaten multiple former champions, Henry Cejudo, Sean O'Malley, long time. He was been in UFC for I want to say almost a decade now. I mean, Jose Aldo, Marlon Moraes, so on and so forth. Piotr Jan, he attempted 30 takedowns of Piotr Jan. 3-1 underdog. What do you make of that, Angel? What do you make about this fight itself?
I think they're insane, without a doubt. Definitely not enough respect on Merab's name. Definitely, you could see that Nurmagomedov last name's power, right, and the odds. Don't get me wrong, Umar is a force to be reckoned with, but it's like, have we seen it yet? I don't think we really have. Like, we've seen great ability, obviously, in the Sandhagen fight, beating him in his own wheelhouse, the striking department, not really even having to go to wrestling that much, if at all. I don't even really remember. It's an excellent fight. The odds, like I said, not exactly what I would think, not what you would expect, right? I will say this card has a lot of value. There's a lot of underdogs if you're confident enough to go that direction. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm gonna go Umar on this one. I think he'll be able to deal with that engine of Merab. I think the scrambles are gonna be insane. The wrestling's gonna be wild. I'm really curious to see how Merab's gonna look in there once that bell rings. Like, how different is he gonna look? Because it's not gonna be like the O'Malley fight where he's forward, little feigning, go for the clinch. Because it's not gonna be like that. I imagine it can't. I mean, there's no way, right? You would imagine with the kind of level of talent these Dagestanis bring with their wrestling, that it's not gonna be at all like the O'Malley fight. And I'm curious to see, is it gonna turn into a striking match? These are both. I mean, Umar isn't just a grappler. He could strike and he can grapple.
Yeah.
But we know Merab's wheelhouse. Is he going to try to, or is Merab going to be committed to, like, I'm going to fight the way I want to fight. I'm going to be, I'm going to have that engine. I'm going to come forward. I'm going to be relentless on these takedowns, no matter how hard it is to take this kid down. I'm going to, if he has to attempt 40 takedowns and break his own record, he'll do it. So yeah, hopefully this is 5 rounds of hell.
Yeah, man. I agree with everything you said there. But I think Merab Dvalishvili is going to get the job.
Base pick.
God, man. I'm going all upsets this week, man. It's not an intentional thing. I just think Tsarukyan, I've always said, part of me, I got to be honest with you, going into fight week right now, like, I actually feel like Makhachev, I feel like he's going to get a job, get it done. But my vibe the entire time has been Arman all the way. It's just I'm having doubts. Similar case for this fight, but I got to ride with Merab, man. I think it's so hard for me whenever you have guys who do get pushed in situations like this, where it's like, dude, like, iron does sharpen iron. Whether or not people think it does or not, if your best win, okay, Corey Sandhagen, obviously, for Umar Nurmagomedov. Who is his next best win after that? I want you to don't look up. Can you name?
Hani Barcelos.
Yeah, maybe him, Brian Kelleher. You know, he also got dropped by like that Ukrainian dude who stepped up.
Oh, you talk about the
3 days notice.
Kazakhstanian fire.
Yeah, Kazakhstanian, not Ukrainian. My apologies. But like, there have been a lot of moments where it's like, oh, you know, Umar, he shows up, but it's like he's not fighting that same level of competition. That
He could show to be good, but I think he could maybe lose in 5 rounds.
I think that could probably. That's how the fight's gonna play out. I think he's gonna lose the close 3-2.
Maybe that's the thing. He's extremely talented. Yeah. He has all the tools, but does he know how to win a championship fight? You know, manage the rounds. You know, be like, I'm gonna take this round off. I'm gonna not exert too much energy this round. Maybe maybe that's where the failure could come. Maybe a lack of an experience at the most elite level.
Yeah. Well, and what's gonna happen whenever like he's never dealt with anybody that can kind of deal with his sort of takedowns and so on and so forth.
His throws and shit.
Yeah, so it's gonna be very interesting. And Merab's coming in hot on this one. I think Aljo was not as vocal as Merab. Merab's just a crazy guy. He's been very open about the fact. He's like, you know, yeah, I know the UFC wants me to lose. I know that they had me take this fight because you've seen it. Dana White, Merab stormed into the UFC PI. Did you hear when they announced the fight? He's like, yeah, he stormed into the PI. He wants this fight. And Merab came out as like, no, brother, I did not want this fight. But they offered it and they said they were going to make an interim. So the same shit they did to Aljo because they don't want these guys to be champion. I think Aljo took that almost like, oh fuck, dude, that's the cards. I guess I got to deal with it. Merab's like, fuck you. I'm going to fuck up your whole day and I'm still going to be champion. And I think that genuinely is a huge motivator. And I think he's going to win. Dude, I think it's gonna be a very close fight, no matter what way it goes.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about. Funny enough, like once again, you know, we were talking about level earlier, like the level of MMA quality, in the previous fight, dude. Once again, like Merab, like we forget, like he's not just a wrestler. This guy was a sambo champion from his country. You know, he had and the guys who've kind of like developed, you know, through that have been very, very successful and shown an extremely high MMA level. And now, you know, you got Umar here who, like, once again, I'm going to glaze again. You know, we've been talking about it over and over again throughout the pod and throughout the past few years on his him coming up. His level of talent is insane. Like, again, despite on the technical level, should produce. Like, even if, maybe if it doesn't hit, once again, if it doesn't hit an entertainment value, in the technical, like in a fight technical sense, I'll be surprised if it doesn't offer in that department.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I'd be surprised. I just think both these guys are very stylistically close to one another. I think they both have the ways to neutralize the other one's game, and I think it's going to lead to kind of a weird fight, but I expect Merab to just edge him out. I think he has more experience at the championship level. He's fought 5 rounds multiple times, and I think it's going to matter a lot when you're having a guy who's coming in. He's fought 5 rounds once, and that was against a guy in Corey Sandhagen without, who as much as I love Corey, a lot of holes in his game.
I will say, I think the game planning for this fight interests me a lot more than the main event.
Yeah.
Because of the styles and another one, the camps, you know, obviously Merab with the Philly team and then obviously Umar with the AKA guys. I mean, dude,
it's interesting.
And it's funny, West Coast, East Coast, you know,
yeah.
Russia, Georgia. I mean, we don't got to get into all of that, but even in it of that of itself, like, dude, like all of that leading into the story, it's a lot of substance to what we're going to be watching.
It really is. Yeah, and I'm honestly like really, I'm arguably more excited for the co-main than the main. Both fights are so good.
Talking about it, it's grown on me.
Like you said, if there's a card for like fans to watch, this is going to be one of them. Like, one of the few all year. You know what I mean? If you're going to be like, all right, well, shit, I can only buy 1 or 2 papers a year. This is in the running, you know. Dude, we just got to go one down. God damn, this main card. The prelims drop off hard, but there's still some good names. We'll just say it. Prelims drop off hard. Main card, though, is just insanely good. Yuri Prochazka, the 32-year-old out of the Czech Republic, has had an up and down last 2 fights, obviously. I mean, last seen in the cage in June, stepping up with short notice, two weeks, thanks Conor McGregor, suffering a knockout loss to Alex Bahia. That was the second time we lost Bahia, but obviously we know the story. Outside of losing Bahia, he's flawless in the UFC. Knockout wins over Alexander Rakic, Dominic Reyes, Volkan Oezdemir. Submitted Glover Teixeira, obviously, to win UFC gold back in 2022. Can he get back to the title? Well, he has the perfect opponent to get him there. Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill. Jamal Hill has still not stopped complaining since his knockout loss to Alex Bahia in April, where he blamed the referee for some odd reason. But we'll also say this. Leading up to that fight, he looked incredible. I mean, a 4-fight winning streak comprised. Jimmy Crute knocked him out in under a minute. Johnny Walker did the same. Thiago Santos, a war, knocks him out, and then beating Glover Teixeira, dominated him across 5 rounds to win UFC gold.
Banger.
Look, man, very excited for this fight. According to the current odds from our friends over at BetMGM, Jamal Hill coming in as a -135 betting favorite for this one. Yuri Prochazka coming back as a +110. What do you make of this fight, man?
I'm a little shocked about it. Don't get me wrong. I think Jamal's good. I think for a long time, we weren't sure about his level, but we saw that he's at least in the top of the 205 division. Without a doubt. I mean, he obviously achieved gold beating Glover. Obviously an older Glover, but a Glover that had shown a lot of strength, a lot of willingness to still get that title even at an old age. I'm a little surprised at those odds just because of like kind of the motivation Yuri has, the following Yuri has. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a pick'em fight. I don't think there's a without a doubt guaranteed answer. For me personally, I think it's Yuri, dude. I mean, he's just that much of a wild card. Don't get me wrong. Jamal Hill could come in here and do some stuff. And I hope he does. I hope he does in the sense of like, I hope he, because of so much hate and so much he's been attacked. And don't get me wrong, like he's brought some of that stuff up, on himself too. It's like, show me that energy. You know what I mean? He's been talking, and I'm not saying it in a hater way. I'm just saying like, show it to the world, man. What you've been saying, translate it, and I think he can. Don't get me wrong. I'm not picking him here. I wouldn't be shocked if we come, here in a week. And it's like, well, guys, I guess Jamal Hill will be fighting Poatan very soon, potentially, Like, that's definitely a result that could happen, but who knows? And Yuri's been getting roasted for his head defense, leaning the head forward. I mean, I don't know. And look, Yuri's motivated himself, too, So, who knows what's going to happen? This is another pure chaos. I mean, I love the uncertainty so far on this card. Like the story building, the world building in this card is insane. The fact that even we're the 3rd fight in, and I'm still like, anything could fucking happen.
Yeah, it's a great card. It's a great fight. But for me, I'm just gonna cut straight into my prediction. I think Yuri Prochazka is gonna win this fight. I'm surprised at those odds. Jamal Hill, and I don't mean to say this to be rude. I think I still have questions as to where he's at. As far as the top echelon of 205, I know he's a top 10. I know he's probably a top 5. But if you take a look at those wins, which I laid out a few minutes ago, Glover on 3 weeks' notice. Obviously, this Glover who had just had a war with Yuri, but it's the context, right? This is a short notice fight, 3 weeks for a guy who's 43 years old.
He had to go into enemy territory, though.
That's true. But also, if people remember that card, that Brazil card was not very highly anticipated and was empty by the 5th round. So I'm not really sure how much that card had a lot of issues, but whatever. Still a wash to the heavens. Thiago Santos, who took him to took Jamal Hill into deep waters. Johnny Walker and Jimmy Crute. Those are his wins. Oh, and Owens, St. Preux. I think Yuri's the more complete guy. I think if this fight goes to the mat, he may even take the fight to the mat. I wouldn't be surprised, man. Jamal Hill, I still have questions about the Achilles tear as well, where he stepped up. People forget that he tore his Achilles after the Glover fight, and that's not something that like you get over in a year. Like that basically ended Kobe Bean Bryant's career. Okay, the torn Achilles whenever he was like 30, 34. Like he still came back and played, but he was never the same. That's an injury that's so hard for guys to get over. Obviously, MMA, there's not many comparisons, but we'll see how Jamal Hill does. I just have more questions. I guessing you're kind of in line with that.
A little bit, yeah, for sure.
No. Just to be clear, you're going to Yuri.
Oh yeah.
All right, I thought so. Just want to double check. So we have also on the main card, Beneil Dariush, 35 years old. He looks like he's 55. Coming off 2 knockout losses to Charlie Olives and Arman Tsarukyan. Both these fights happened in 2023. Afterwards, after getting brutally knocked out, he's like, you know what? I'm going to take off a year. I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to let my brain recover. And he took off over a year. Coming back here. But the bad news is, you're coming back after a year off to heal your brain to fight Money Moicano? The man who cannot afford to lose? Okay, coming on. 4 wins in a row. We're talking 6 of his last 7. He went into enemy territory. Speaking of enemy territory, Benoit Saint Denis, a guy who was on the rise, murdered him. Destroyed him. That first round, back in September, should have been a 10-7, my boy. Brutal. Okay?
I mean, we got to say it, because he's on the win streak. If he has the win here, what's next? I know that's way too early, but
if he wins here, he would be ranked probably number 9. You have to run him again. Dude, you
got to give him a top 5.
Max Holloway? Do you like Max Holloway, Moicano? Do you like Poirier Moicano?
I don't think. But the thing is, Poirier sounds like he's on his last one coming up.
Yeah,
so-
you don't want to waste his last one. But if he's going to do 2, he's been non-committal. He said, I'll do 1 or 2. If you're doing 2, I think you run Moicano. I think that's so fun.
Yeah.
But if it's only doing 1, you don't run that.
I mean, you could do Matt. I don't know. It's hard. He's in a weird spot, Money Moicano himself, if he is to win this. If Benny wins this, I mean, that just fucks everything up.
Yeah, right?
But no, I mean, I had to ask because I'm like, dude, he's like pushing it and he's older. Like, I'm sure he wants that title shot soon, especially with the win streak he's building up. Especially if he gets Beneil Dariush under his belt. Granted, though, that one's not guaranteed. Benny, a tough guy. He's one of those guys. Even when he's hurt, he's still dangerous. Look back at that Drakkar close fight.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, he has been brutally knocked out in his last 2 fights.
Yeah.
He's taking time off. I mean, it's really not the ideal recipe. It's like everything you don't want going into a fight.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Money Moicano, but I really wanted to present that question early because it's like you gotta wonder, like, if he does do it here, what is next? Like, we gotta break through. We gotta get some momentum going.
This is going to this fight's kind of interesting for a lot of like reasons. So you have Dariush, who at one point they're kind of mirroring each other, man. Dariush look 35 years old now, but he looks like he was dead in the water at like 30. He looked like he was done. His time at the top was over.
You know, it's funny you say that they're the same age.
That's what I was about to bring up. He went on a hell of a run. Now 35, he looks like he's on the downslope. Moicano 35, he's on the rise, pulling a Benny Dariush from a few years ago. And I was like, oh shit, Moicano, who? We thought he was done. But Angel, I'm gonna according to the current odds. Actually, I want to throw this one out there before I get my prediction. Current odds. Money Moicano, if you want to earn some money, you can follow that link down below to BetMGM. Minus 175. Dariush plus 145. You know, I didn't intend to take all dogs. I'm taking Beneil Dariush.
I mean, he could fucking do it, dude. He has power. He's good on the ground. He's a perfect matchup to beat.
That is the reason.
Moicano.
I think that Dariush of 2 years ago, comfortably, I'm picking him to win this fight. It's because of the questions about the health and all that I have to be like, I'm going to pick Dariush. But I think stylistically, he can pull it off.
I think mine's a little different. I think Moicano's leveled up. His research, his preparation for fights is better now.
Yeah.
I mean, in the BSD fight, his preparation to catch those leg kicks, I took him down off that. I mean, that showed another level of improvement. And he won that fight, not just well, but dominantly.
Yeah.
And in great fashion. So I think if he's able to do that against a guy, Beneil, I think he could recreate it on top of all the factors of being knocked out. I know the guy's also a parent, so some stress there potentially. I mean, Moicano's a parent of many. We know that too.
That's true. Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to bother him.
Yeah.
So that's a different story. On top of that, Benny's from California. He'll be fighting locally. Maybe some pressure there. Obviously the fires and stuff. There's just a lot of factors. There's a lot going on in Beneil's world. It doesn't mean there's not a lot going on in Moicano's as well. And like I said, time off. There's just too much there that I don't like. I'm going to lean Moicano, and he's on the up. He's doing positive things. There's just way too much green on the Moicano, funny enough. You know. Hey, I didn't mean to do it on purpose. It kind of just worked out like that.
No, I got you.
But it just signals to me like this is victory.
Yeah.
Victory waiting to happen.
Got you. I got you. I see your point, and like I said, I'm very fifth-50 on this fight. I just think Beneil Dariush has this perfect style to stifle Moicano. He's solid on the feet. On the mat, I think he's arguably better. I think they're at the very least, comparable. I think that
I could agree with that. I could agree that Beneil maybe has a higher jiu-jitsu level.
Yeah, I think he's better on the feet. I think Moicano takes a lot of damage. Dariush does as well, but admittedly, when you think about Benny Dariush taking damage, you really only think of his last few fights. He hasn't been in a lot of wars, taking life-changing beatings. He did get knocked out twice, but outside of that, he's largely been a guy that's been able to avoid taking the big hits in his career. So I'm gonna roll Benny. But goddamn, dude, this main card opener might be the fight I'm honestly most excited for, just from entertainment value. Okay, Kevin Holland, Trailblazer. I was thinking about this coming into the preview. Is he kind of this generation? If you're like an MMA fan who just started watching within the last 5 years, he's kind of your Nate Diaz, right? Kind of a guy who like he can be a contender at times, but like for the most part, he's just coming in. He's putting on fun fights. He's talking shit. He's doing shit outside the cage.
I think he's a blend of a number of guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that.
Because he was kind of like Cowboy there for a bit in his own way. But he did get some major wins, but he never got to the big dance, like the really big dance, but he could have.
Yeah.
And then he's balanced between 2 weight classes. He's good in all areas. People talk about how good his jiu-jitsu is.
Yeah.
all this stuff.
It sounds like you're just describing Nate Diaz to me, a guy that jumped between weight classes.
I mean that too, but I'm saying I think that's what I'm saying. He's a combination of a number of these guys.
I'm just doing a bit. Point being, he is kind of like the action star for this generation of MMA fans. I feel like, at least around that weight class.
Yeah.
Taking on Rene de Ridder. God, dude, the Dutch Knight, RDR, 2 wins in a row. He obviously left one championship under bad circumstances, bad juju, lost 2 in a row, but went to UA Warriors, pick up the win. Came into the UFC in November, submitted Gerald Mearshart, good win there at middleweight. Current odds, according to our friends over at BetMGM, close one. It's gonna be a close fight. Kevin Holland, a +100 underdog. Rene de Ridder, RDR coming back to the -120 betting favorites. Damn near even.
Funny enough, I think they should be flipped.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I would agree with you on that one.
But, I mean, they're not bad odds.
Yeah.
I just think they should be the other way around. Personally, I think Kevin should be the favorite.
Yeah.
I think de Ridder should be the underdog. There's some value there.
There is. For both guys, honestly, given how close the odds are.
I mean, a Moicano Holland bet is pretty solid, to be honest.
Yeah.
If you want to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, to get into the fight itself, I mean, look, Kevin Holland, great on the feet, has, you'll hear guys that he's trained with always say, like, hey, Kevin Holland's jiu-jitsu game, underrated as fuck. Don't sleep on it. De Ridder, primarily a grappler, takes a decent bit of damage. This is going to be a second cut to 185. Maybe there'll be some improvements there. Maybe the cardio will be better. It's only 3 rounds. So that's, I think, beneficial to him, especially if he's able to get that fight down to the ground, 2 out of the 3 rounds. Have some sub attempts, maybe a little bit ground and pound in there. He could get it done. I think size-wise, I think he matches up good against Kevin Holland. I mean, it's a good test. I will give him credit. I think the build-up and difficulty for RDR has been good, going from GM3 to Kevin Holland. And I feel like if you beat Kevin Holland, the next step is a ranked fighter, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree.
So, yeah, this is a very vital and important fight for him if he is looking to fight for the title at some point, if those are his goals. Because I think he's come out this week and kind of said he's not, super stressed about that. He's just kind of riding the wave, and however things work out, I think I'm going to go Kevin Holland on this one. I really want to go RDR, but I think the intelligent pick is Kevin Holland at this time. But granted, I wouldn't be surprised if RDR gets a takedown, is able to set up a sub, and get Kevin Holland out of there. I mean, that'd be pretty fucking impressive. And the conversations we'll be having after that are going to be very fucking exciting. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not saying I'm rooting for that result, but if it happens, let's just say I won't be sad.
Yeah. Yeah. I am admittedly pretty, oh man. I'm kind of, I'm torn on this fight. I agree with a lot of what you said. I think his cut's going to be better this time. I think he's going to come in at the very least better shape. That Jared Mearshart fight, we've never seen him gas really. And dude, he was, I think granted it was like Kimbo Dada levels, like we were saying we're on Twitter at the time.
Yeah.
But
also, it was a lot of grappling,
a lot of activity. So I get it.
Yeah.
But man, Kevin Holland hits hard. He's going to make you pay, especially if the fight goes deep. I'm going to pick Rene de Ridder. I think on the mat, he's way better. And I think he's not going to be dumb about this. I think he knows that, okay, I know what to do here. This is even a less case. So, Gerald Mearshart, very intense grappling. Like you said, a lot of activity. Gerald Mearshart, one of the most underrated grapplers in the UFC. You could put him in the discussion as one of the greatest grapplers in the UFC as far as being he could take out anybody.
I mean, the craziest result in this fight would be RDR knockout or Kevin Holland sub.
Exactly. I think an RDR sub is the most likely thing to happen. And I'm going to pick him to do it. But especially if you look at Kevin Holland's career, man. I mean, this guy, no offense to him, but he gets caught a fair bit, And also coming off that loss to Roman.
We've been sub by. Obviously, Chimaev won, but Chimaev is special.
Submission loss to Chimaev. And I believe that's his only submission loss, but he's been taken down and he got submitted by Brendan Allen as well.
I don't remember that one for some reason.
Roman Dolidze beat him. Yeah, so.
Thiago Santos laying on him.
Yeah, but he's had a lot of fights where it's just okay, you can hold him down, and if there's a guy that can hold you down on the mat, it's Rene de Ridder. So
yeah, I mean the top game is gonna be vital in this. I think there's gonna be a lot of clinching against the cage, a lot of closing space. I imagine Kevin's gonna try to find the outside a lot, maybe not try to get too tangled up. Yeah, I mean it's a very, very, very fun fight to start the night.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I like it. I like it. As far
Did you take all dogs? Is that everything? Were they all dogs?
No, RDR is a -120. So a very slight favorite in 4 dogs.
I think I took all favorites and 1 dog, right?
Yeah. Granted, the odds are really close for a lot of these fights. So, not the odds for the main and co-main are lopsided, but the other fights are all really close. So it doesn't matter. Prelims, though, oh man, we got a couple of weird matchups, but a couple of bangers too. Bogdan Guskov taking on UFC newcomer Billy ELYXR.
That
Originally
just got announced, right?
Correct. It was really supposed to be Johnny Walker against Bogdan. We have Peyton Talbot. This is the highlight of the prelims, obviously. Peyton Talbot taking on Raoni Barcelos. Peyton Talbot, the UFC's young sensation, 26 years young. I believe he's 9-0 with 8 finishes. This kid is the real deal. Holyfield coming back here. Biggest UFC test against Raoni Barcelos. If he wins this one, he should be fighting Corey Sandhagen. I believe that's the way that works, right? Right, Dana? No, I'm
just so you know, he's on a 14-fight win streak if you include his AMI record.
I mean, the kid's for real. I mean, if there's any doubt. I mean, he's one of the most fun, one of the most unique guys in the UFC. And that's the reason why people like him. You know, you have to be unique in this game.
Like I said, I think he's like not necessarily exactly the same, but for this time, I think he's like modern Diego Sanchez in a very, very, very different way.
I see that.
I think people should, if I ever said, I think like, if a lot of people heard me say that, I think they take it very literally. Yeah. Because, you know, Diego Sanchez was a fucking wild card, man, on Tough, and then
coming out with the cross, holding up the cross.
You know, but it kind of, there's some things in Peyton Talbot that kind of, he's different. He's a unique individual. He walks the earth a little differently besides everybody else. And I mean, literally from the way he carries himself to the tattoos to the YouTube videos, just his what's the word I'm looking for? His aesthetic is just different for this time.
Yeah.
He's not the traditional cage fighter.
He's not the traditional fucking going on a pod. Yeah, dude, I fucking love Trump's my boy, man. What do you like every, you guys know, every fighter has the same beliefs. No, it's true though, because this is something that even he talked about. He's like, yeah, dude, I'm gonna go fuck up Andrew Tate after this. Like that's Peyton Talbot's attitude. He's the polar opposite of everybody in MMA, and he's aware of that, and I appreciate that. It's nice to have guys who are unique every once in a while.
Oh yeah.
This is gonna be a banger fight. Love that. Jailton Almeida, Sergey Spivak. Jailton Almeida for me, man. I understand he lost to Curtis Blades, but I still think he's a dark horse at heavyweight. I felt like that one loss, bless you, kind of just eliminated him in every discussion. But like, the guy still throws around everybody. You know?
I'm gonna say this right now. I think people are sleeping on Spivak.
I would actually agree with you. I think if there's a guy that can beat him, it would be him with the grappling. Not beat him, but pose some issues.
I think I could cancel out. I think there's some value on Spivak. I think there's some value because I'm sure he's the underdog. Yeah, he's a plus 340.
Oh,
I'm not gonna lie. I like the odds on that. Yeah. I wouldn't bet my life on it, but I like that.
I wouldn't bet my life on it at all. But anyways, man.
Grand Dawson, Diego Ferreira.
Yeah. That's a banger. I like that.
Diego Ferreira, man. Still
39 years old. He said he's hoping, but he's won 2 in a row by knockout. He was like, yeah, man, I'm making a run for those rankings.
By the way, fun fact: he will be 40 the night of.
That actually is a fun fact. Dude. Let's fucking go, dude.
His birthday will be that day.
Taking on Grant Dawson, who there is a man. Grant's really young, man. It's gonna be 10-year age gap. Brutal.
Zach Reese, Islam Makhachev. By the way, have you seen this Islam Makhachev guy?
No, I have not. The name sounds familiar, though.
Okay, so he had a crazy highlight from LFA like not too long ago. He had a few highlights. This guy's pretty much his whole career happened in Russia, like a lot of these fighters. Fought in ACB, which then later became ACA. If you go look at the records of the guys he lost, they're all insane records. They all are like 21-3, all Russian. And then in 2023, man, he decided to make the hop over to the US and fight in the LFA.
Oh, I've seen this guy.
And look, one fight in the LFA. After that, he got a title shot. He defended it twice. And he got the call up short notice to fight in the UFC. And he's been very proactive since his time transitioning over to the to fighting in the States. Look, Zach Reese has a tall task, I think. The newcomer looks kind of hot and ready. Could potentially be another rookie of the year in the works there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's one to look out for.
It's a good fight. It's a good fight. I like that one. Zach Reese got a lot of power. Knocked out Casey's own Julian Marquez previously. That's a good fight, man. I like that. The return of Eileen Perez in the undercard. You know, everybody makes fun of her, but like,
she's winning.
She's like low key, like becoming a title contender. She's won 4 in a row, looking to make it 5 against Kara Hulsa. I think she probably wins that fight too. So
I got something to tell you about her afterwards, after the show. I just don't want to talk about it on air. Right
Eileen Perez?
Yes.
I wouldn't talk about that on air either.
Just some discovery I made.
Yeah, fair enough. Ricky Tercio is coming back here against Bernardo Sopage. I like that.
Was that the guy who got knocked out by Vinicius Oliveira, like that crazy knee?
I believe so.
Yes, it was. Flying knee.
Yes. Tagir Olenbekov, Clayton Carpenter, flyweight. That's a banger to open up the card, man. I still like Tagir, you know?
Dude, how did you sneak over? How did you just like sneak over
Rinya Nakamura? I did. I
one of the most
over.
important Japanese prospects right now, dude. The hybrid.
Japanese prospect. I mean, well, one of. They're coming through right now. Yeah.
By the way, he only fought since coming in. Oh wait, no, he fought twice 2023. Never mind. I thought he was for some reason only doing one fight a year, but only one fight last year against Carlos Vera. It was in February. It's been almost a whole year, 11 months. I hope there's more activity. Like I said, he's young in this game, 9-0, 29 years young. I mean, he has time, but bantamweight can be very unforgiving when age hits.
It really can. And he's taking on a guy here, another relatively UFC newcomer, not deep in his career, Moin Gofrov. So, it should be fun.
He's a vet of the game. He's been around a while. He's a good test. It's a good fight for Rinya. It's not easy. So he'll get pushed, and I think hopefully he shows more levels to his MMA game just outside of the wrestling.
I got you. That's all for UFC 311, man. I think we did a great job previewing, but we have some news, man, and we got some news. When I say we got some news, we got some news. This is not some bullshit where we're coming on here and we're like, yeah, well, I mean, Conor McGregor said one thing. No, we have multiple fight announcements.
Reports are coming out of Singapore.
Shatri Sittertong is standing on
business.
Sorry. Anyways, we have other news. We'll hit it all with this one. You know what? I'm actually going to change the format. We're going to go MMA, and then we're going to go all boxing, because it's mostly boxing. We might as well just get the MMA one out of the way. No UFC news, but the PFL is no more. Bellator, after 17 years as an MMA promotion.
By the way, someone needs to make a graphic. I'm sorry I cut you off there. But it needs to be like Graveyard, and it's like WEC, Strike Force, Pride, Affliction, and then in the coffin right there in the middle, Bellator.
Heartbreaking.
You see the belt in there in the coffin with the logo.
Yeah, man, brutal. Bellator after 17. People don't realize Bellator has been around for 17 years. That's outlasting Pride. That's outlasting Strike Force, Elite XC, any major promotion with the exception of
some of these
a few of these
European,
regional ones. Yeah,
the European promotion.
You know, I think
Cage Warriors.
Yeah,
they've been around a long time.
They've been around for a long time. For the most part, there's been no U.S. competitor to the UFC that's been able to last as long as Bellator. 17 years. Largely with Scar Coker. Hell of a run. PFL coming through. They bought him out in late 2023. They said, hey, we're going to keep Bellator around. I heard behind the scenes that I said this on the show, a year. They're going to be around a year. They have to wrap up a few contractual things, and they're going to be done. They're done now. Officially, Bellator, no more. PFL has merged the two rosters, but this roster and the format for the PFL is going to be changing. No more $1 million tournaments. No more points. They finally did the thing we've wanted, Angel. No more points. No more, a knockout's worth 4 points and a split decision's worth 1 and bullshit.
If it's in the first round, the second round.
Yeah, the second round. I mean, he got a flying knee knockout, but, the sun was in my eyes and it would happen in the third round. I'm sure how many points we should get,
But Josh, it got even worse.
The bad news. They're knocking their tournaments down to $500,000 instead of $1 million.
And not even just that, Josh. Only 64 fighters will compete in a tournament.
Correct.
8 weight classes have been selected, and I forget how many fighters are going to fight. Well, actually, I could be incorrect. It wasn't 64 fighters. Is it 64 fighters? I don't know. I saw we saw the numbers. Nevertheless, a lot less guys are going to be involved, which is insane because their roster that was combined with Bellator and them was massive. And there was some recently, Josh, I can't remember what promotion I was watching. It was some local promotion or something. But I saw a former Bellator fighter fighting in this other promotion. I can't remember what it was.
Damn.
And I didn't even know they were released or anything. I can't remember who it was off the top of my head.
Well, but here's the thing. PFL is actually going to be releasing a lot of guys. You mentioned that. We know that one name that has been released, current Bellator featherweight champion, Patricio Pitbull.
Never lost it, baby.
After a decade of being the star and helping build up that company, I talked about this in the video I came out with earlier this week or last week now. Basically, Patricio wanted out. They weren't going to let him out, and he had to rant multiple times on social media. Eventually got his release. Patricio Pitbull signed the UFC. Run Max Holloway. Run Volkanovski. Run fucking Michael Chandler rematch. Run whatever you want to see. There's unlimited good fights for him. He's 36 now. The time is now. Okay? We're running out of time. So I would be so devastated if he went to the GFL. You have no idea.
I don't think he will. I think he wants to go to the UFC. He's obviously aggressively pushing at that. He's been very public. He's getting a lot of attention on Twitter. It makes sense. I mean, it's a signing that should have happened. And I think if the UFC does it, they need to do it, but they need to strike while the iron's hot. And on top of that, once they get him signed, they need to not dick around and throw him right into the fire like they did with Chandler. Give him the Dan Hooker fight was a big fight. They need to give him a relevant name at whatever weight class he decides to compete at, whether it's 145 or 155.
Yeah.
Or both.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for him, 145 is probably the way to go. I don't think we're going to get any bantamweight, although somebody suggested Jose Aldo Pacheco Pitbull, which...
I mean, they could do it at 45, though.
They could run that at 45. But regardless, PFL...
Aldo could do a one-off.
Yeah. Regardless, I got to say, like, mixed moves. Getting rid of Bellator. I think I said this at the start. They should have just kept Bellator and gotten rid of the PFL, honestly.
The one thing I could give them minor credit on, and I can't even give them a lot of credit, is they have bantamweight now.
Correct. They also have elbows now.
Yeah, which... What could I say?
Congrats, you're doing the thing that we were doing for the last 20 years, man. So I don't know. I'm pretty mixed on it, but
I get why they didn't do elbows. They had the tournament format. They couldn't afford it, guys dropping out. But during the mid-season, so
yeah. I don't know. Anyways, man. Probably should go ahead and move on. Really, there's not a lot else to say about PFL, but we have so much boxing news. Guys, they came through and they were like, and by they, I mean Turkey Al-Sheikh. Riyadh season. That's where almost every single of these stories are connected.
Gotta say it every single time, Josh. The amount of times that we've said that name in the past 2 to 3 years.
And I know that you're like, you love the guy, but it's like, dude, like I have to mention him because like he's the guy making these fights. So let's talk about it. Few fights in the works for 2025. Some of these official, some of these almost said, some of these just rumors. Okay, we'll hit off with the first one. The first one made official last night before we came into the studio today. Turkey Al-Sheikh staying up late to make Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn official. April, London. Don't know the arena yet, but we know the location. We know the date. April. We know the guys involved. This fight was booked, obviously, almost 3 years ago now, which is insane to think about. Ended up getting canceled because Conor Benn allegedly did a little bit of Sazul, what are you gonna do? The ashwagandha really was the problem. Obviously, we know the story after that where like he was getting suspended and he was fighting with I think it was VADA, and I think it was like the British Board of Sanctions, and he got unsuspended by the WBC, but he was still suspended by other sanctioning bodies. It was weird. He's been fighting the US. He's had a couple of fights, I believe.
To put it simply, found another way to fight,
right? He's picked 2 decision wins up Rodolfo Ozako in Florida, and then he beat Peter Dobson in Nevada last February. Been out of the ring for over a year now, but April 26th, he'll be facing Chris Eubank Jr. Chris Eubank Jr. kind of similar kicks, kind of up and down. He signed the deal to face Ben in late 2022, and at that point he was red hot. He was heading into the fight, 6-fight winning streak. Now dominated Liam Williams, but that's after that fight got canceled. He faced Liam Smith, got knocked out, huge upset. Came back though, beat the shit out of him. Ended up dropping Roy Jones Jr. as his head coach around this time. Came back, knocked out Camille Zezermrada in October. Won IBO middleweight gold. This is basically a guy who's fought, established at 168, at 160, taking on a guy who's a very green welterweight. On paper, it makes no sense. But whenever you factor in their families and all that.
I mean, that's the only reason it's happening, really.
Yeah. Well, and they have developed a heated rivalry. So what do you make of this fight, man?
It's fun. I mean, like with the history, with the family, with the 2 dads, they built something here that wasn't there to begin with. They fabricated it, I think, to an extent, but then it became a little bit more personal with obviously the testing stuff, and then obviously there was back and forth, and then they inevitably built up a little, and ended up building a rivalry amongst each other with that. Yeah. So now there's something there of value that's going to make this match interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like the fight. I'm kind of still at the same point where I am when this fight first got announced. I think Chris Eubank Jr. is going to box his fucking ears off, man. I think he's just, whether or not Chris Eubank Jr., from what I've read about like how people in the UK feel, like because the US not a name at all, but in the UK, like people kind of are like mixed about him. Like he didn't really live up to the hype, but he did win some gold and he had some big fights and he faced huge names. Conor Benn doesn't have any of that. His biggest win is Chris Algieri, who was 7,000 years old whenever they fought. So I think he should win, but hey, man, that's kind of what makes the fight so interesting. Conor Benn, at this point in his career, I mean, what's he got? 20 wins, 19 by knockout or something like that. He just annihilated a lot of these guys. So excuse me, I got that a little bit wrong. 23-0, 14 wins by knockout. But he's knocked out basically every major opponent he's had lately. So, anyways, man, I like the fight, but it's not the only fight. It's not the only fight. No, not by a damn sight. Okay, Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney 2. This one came out as well.
The Flash.
Allegedly in the works for mid-2025. Obviously, these two fought in April, or Ryan Garcia beat the shit out of him, ended up winning by his decision, ended up getting overturned due to a drug test failure. Go ahead.
Are they trying to time this when his ban will be up?
I don't know any details on as far as when the fight's going to happen. I know I've heard that it's being eyed for Vegas, and it's mid-2025, so it'd be post-ban, but I don't know when exactly.
Do we know when Ryan's suspension's ending?
April 20th, the exact date of the fight.
Wow.
Yeah, so I like that.
Hilarious.
I like that.
That's awesome.
So yeah, hopefully they get this one cooking. This one is the one we have the least amount of details of. We don't know if this is going to be a Riyadh season event. We do know that Turkey has been in talk with both of these guys. The Ring Magazine reported this week, so we'll see. By
the way, is Ampo and just Ryan is just off the books now?
Yes. I mean, that fight was only going to happen because of an exhibition, and if with him getting hurt, it's like, why would you even risk it?
Yeah.
You know? So I feel bad for Ampo. That's a big payday, but I get Ryan why he would not revoke it.
Unfortunate.
At least not immediately.
Unfortunate for them, right? There was a time and place, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah, would have been a big fight too. This one I'm excited for it, but I mean, there's so few details that I feel I don't have a lot to say, you know. But admittedly, I also want to talk about this fight more because, like, dude, this is the one. This is the one. You and I have been talking about this one for a minute now. Canelo Alvarez, Terrence Bud Crawford, Sin City. T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada, September, Mexico Independence Day. Look, dude, we've been talking about Canelo Alvarez fighting David Benavidez for a long time, but we've always said if we can't get David Benavidez, the number 2 guy, even in some points, feel like number 1 is Terrence Crawford.
And it's not even close.
Look, dude, you watch fights because you want to see the impossible. Terrence Bud Crawford is, along with Naoya Inoue, the only men to have ever been undisputed in 2 weight classes. And after he beat and just dominated Errol Spence. And what was supposed to be a close fight, he said, I want the third. And I don't want third. I want to make history doing it. I want to jump 3 weight classes. I want to fight Canelo Alvarez for undisputed gold at 168. And Canelo was like, fuck off. So we did nothing for a year. Crawford moved up, won gold in another weight class, beat Madrimov last August.
Tough fight. Good fight.
Good fight. Madrimov, really tough dude. Canelo Alvarez, obviously, he beat Hamza Munguia and Edgar Berlanga. LOL. You know, like, who cares? But the point being, apparently, according to multiple reports, September, Turki Al-Sheikh met with both of them this week. That is confirmed.
Dude, could that be a scenario where that's like the only fight for them this year, and it's that big of a buildup? Like,
my inclination is they're both gonna fight once as a stay busy. But I think that they will probably
like some random mandatory.
I think Canelo Alvarez, I believe he's already been linked to William Scroll, who I think is like his mandatory.
Uh-huh.
But Crawford, I would presume he'd fight, but I've been wrong before. You know?
But it's because it would be crazy if it was like one of those years where like this is the only fight they're gonna do, and it's like that 8-month build up. You know,
exactly.
6 months of like, you know, Showtime, fucking background, you know, like sit down, face to face, world tour, you know what I mean? Like, if it's going to be that massive. And if it is, I hope so, you know, because this isn't a little fight. This is a groundbreaking, you know, it's going to happen one time ever, having these 2 talented individuals in there. And it needs to be massive. It needs to be big.
Two of the pound for pound best facing off. Obviously, we know Canelo Alvarez. We know the story. All-time great. One of the GOATs. Multiple division champion. Terrence Crawford, obviously coming up from the weight, but like, dude, like, this is what, whenever you think about some of the greats, this is what they do. Manny Pacquiao was an 8-division champion, you know. Roberto Duran was beloved because, you know what, it didn't matter if it was 150 or 170. He's fucking there, dude. He's there to scrap.
He's making the weight.
And he's making the weight. Terrence Bud Crawford, the highest he's fought is 154. He's currently a champion at 154, moving up another 2 weight classes. Pretty insane. But
a lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure. But again, this is what makes the fight so interesting. If there's a guy that can do it, it'd be fucking Bud Crawford, you know? And he's moved up in weight before. 2-time undisputed champion. Already a champion in another weight class. Has 2 titles in 154.
Undefeated.
You know? Undefeated. Never really been challenged. The closest guy to pose any issues was Sean Porter in that fight.
If he beat Canelo, would this fucker be close to the GOAT? Like,
He'd have to be. He'd have to be. And that's what makes this fight so interesting. For Canelo.
The conversations he'd be entering are that of legends.
Greatness. And I saw a lot of people shitting on this fight. But, like, dude, it's like, do you like this is why you book boxing matches?
Why are
Like,
people fucking boring, dude?
Yeah, it's like, well, I'd rather him see him fight a mandatory. No, dude, I want to see him fight like a pound for pound, arguably the number one guy in the fucking sport, dude. Like, what? Why are we? Do you really want to see him fight like another Charlo brother? Like, what are we doing, here?
Dude,
Like,
think about how great Volk versus Islam was at its time.
yes,
Because Volk was pound for pound. Islam is seen as this great big entity at 155. Potentially could end up being the 155 GOAT. Like, there was a reason that fucking fight was so good.
yeah, it's like, dude, like Manny Pacquiao. Why would you move up, dude? Just stay at 140, bro. Like, what are we started at like 120 or some shit? Like, just stay down there, dude. Come on, what are you doing? You know, ridiculous. I love the fight. Can't wait for it. Hopefully, it gets officially announced soon. Regardless, I'm psyched for it. This is another boxing news, which I didn't even have this listed, and this actually came out during the show.
By the way, that one has to be a re-odd season event, I imagine.
Oh, that's it's all definitely re-odd season. Not happening in Saudi, thank God. But no offense to Saudi Arabia, but you know, hey, I that's a Sin City fight, man. That's a Las Vegas. You book a flight when that fight.
That or MSG, one or the other.
Exactly.
Weigh in on the scale at the Ali scale.
That'd be badass.
Right.
Two quick things to wrap up with. This one came out during the show right now. Dana White has shut down rumors of Conor McGregor stepping into the boxing ring. First it was Logan Paul, then it was KSI. Dana White coming out today saying, nope, Conor McGregor won't be fighting in the ring. He's going to be returning to the UFC in the fall. Angel, I'm not even going to ask if you care because I know you were not a fan of the Logan Paul fight, but do you think he'll actually fight in the UFC? Because we've been hearing about this for 4 years now.
I forgot what it was. I don't know if it wasn't last year. I don't know if it was the year before. It was either like 2 years ago or maybe we'll push it 3 years ago. I said if Conor does not fight, I think it was last year. I think it was the predictions for 2024.
Correct.
I think at the start of that year, I said if Conor does not fight this year, I don't think he'll ever fight again.
And we were in agreement with that.
And it almost happened. He did almost fight. And it was going to be like, okay, well, he did fight. If he did fight, it was going to happen. But if he doesn't, like I said, if he didn't fight, it's never going to happen again. And I'm pretty sure it's still not going to happen.
There's no way he's coming back to fight in the UFC. I said, and this is why I thought the Logan Paul boxing match could happen.
My illusions ended last year. They're done. Especially after the legal shit. Like, I could get into this. I'm sorry for cutting you off. But
No, you're good.
I just wanted to express that because it's done. It's done. It's been done. Everybody needs to be okay with that. That era is over. That era is actually ending. When, you know, like that era of fighters is pretty much gone, guys.
Yeah.
So,
and we also have to say it like I could have seen him facing a Logan Paul type in a boxing match because that's a huge payday. He doesn't really care about fighting, but like that amount of money, like allegedly $200 million,
whatever it would have been,
that can get up anybody. You're not gonna get up for $10 million to fight Michael Chandler. It's not gonna happen. And I think with all the stuff going on in his life, I don't even think he might even get up for $200 million. The guy's fucking head deep in coke every single day. I mean, I hate to be the guy that says it, but like, dude, like every public appearance, he's clearly blazed out of his fucking mind. And I think this has been 3 years in a row of that. And this is the thing about addiction. The longer it goes, the harder it is to pull yourself out of that. I'm not even saying this to be like a look too deep into Conor's life thing, but like, that's just the way it is. So yeah, I don't think he'll fight. But at least we're not going to have to watch him lose to Logan Paul. So I guess that's something. I think he'd probably be KSI though. So probably just could say that. I think Logan Paul's just too big. I mean, he's two Conors basically. Motherfucker fought Dylan Danis. What, heavyweight? Like, what the fuck are we doing?
some shit like that.
Anyways,
yeah.
Last bit of news: the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury, at 35 years old, has announced his retirement from professional boxing. Lost twice in a row to Alexander Usyk, and then he gets on Instagram and he says, "I'm done." Angel, I'm not even going to ask what you think about his retirement. I'm going to ask, how long do you think it will be until there's an announcement that he's going to be fighting Anthony Joshua?
8 months.
8 months? Do you think that's 8 months to the announcement or 8 months to the fight?
It could be either or, to be honest.
I got you. Yeah.
But look, if this is the end, dude.
All time great. Yeah, Avi.
Yeah, like, dude, he did his part. He made some of the most money he'll ever make. He has a massive family. He's able to afford that. Like,
he's got his own Netflix show.
Yeah, like, life is pretty fucking cool, man. Like, if you don't want to fight again, like, awesome. Like, I had a lot of fun watching you.
Yeah. I think he's absolutely going to come back, and this is absolutely a ploy, which he's done 17 times now. I put out a compilation YouTube video on YouTube, which I was disappointed to get more views. But it was a compilation of every time Tyson Fury's retired, at least every time I could find. And it's just like a minute long of him. I had to speed up the video that way. It could hit the shorts.
That's how long it was.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, I think he'll be back. And I think he's going to be fighting Anthony Joshua at Wembley in September. That's just a vibe. I don't know for sure, but that's just my guess. August, September, somewhere around there. He'll be back. Too much money to be made. And especially, he only needs to fight 1 or 2 more times. And he's already set up generationally, but it's like, dude, the guy's addicted to fighting. All these guys get into this because they love this shit. For him, the opportunity to put down Anthony Joshua, I think is too much to resist. So
Yeah, that fight there's still a lot of money there.
yeah, and not only that, it's just like, dude, like I got your longtime rival, never fought. It makes so much sense. And
England versus England, it could be done in Wembley.
Never been more profitable than it is right now, too. So even though they've lost, they're still at the peak of their stars.
Oh yeah, the fight makes sense still to an
Yeah.
extent. Yeah.
Anyways, man. Anything else we talk about before we end up out of here, man?
No, man. I'm obviously extremely excited to come back next week, talk about the pay-per-view, the recap. Dude, I mean, there's gonna be a lot to talk about, no matter the results of the fights. And who knows, whatever controversial decision happens, crazy stoppage, and whoever makes their dreams come true that night, like, it's gonna be a fun fucking time.
Yeah.
It's a good one to start the year.
Absolutely, man. Very excited for that card. Again, UFC 311 going down this Saturday night. Go ahead and follow the link down below if you want to have some fun on BetMGM. But that's all for me, man. I'm at Josh Soundoff on Twitter, at Angel Ortega _01 for my boy over here. At Courtside Soundoff for all things related to the show. Hope you guys enjoyed. Peace.